Hello and welcome to That British Homestead. My name's Nick and today we're going to plant out some sweet corn. Really exciting. I've hardened them off, so I've taken them in and out from under the grow lights. So 2 hours outside and then the next day 4 hours outside, 8 hours outside, and then I extend it, double it basically every day. The reason I do that is to acclimate the plants to this environment, because under the grow lights there's no wind, there's no rain, there's no drops in temperature suddenly, etc. It is a perfect toasty environment that's acclimated perfectly for their growth. Now outside isn't, so the lights, no matter how good your grow lights are, sunlight is so much more intense and they just don't have the amount of chloroplast that they need, so therefore we give them a little bit of helping hand, bring them out, bring them back in. If they're not hardened off as much, they can die or be really severely stunted, so we don't want that. As you can see, the fence has broken, so the ducks get up onto the allotment patch in our back garden. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fix that so they can no longer get on, so we can plant out our sweet corn. So we decided to start at the other end. This is a fence that's broken. Not really broken. We actually replaced the fence that you can see beside Bob, and because of that, obviously we had to take the fence down. And it's just been one of them things that we're meaning to get round to, and you never do you? So nice. We've decided now that spring has sprung, there's no excuse. We have to fix this fence. So Bob is just basically making some holes in the metal and screwing it on to the fence and banging it into the ground, so it's nice and secure. This fence is primarily to keep the ducks and the dog off the plot. To be honest, the dog can totally jump over that tiny little fence, and he basically just doesn't because we tell him not to. And we decided to keep the other end open for now so that we can dig all of this beautifully homemade compost, which we've been making over the last year. It's made out of like kitchen scraps, vegetable scraps, and some duck bedding and some chicken bedding. Remember that chicken bedding is hot manure, so it does actually have to be composted for quite a long time. A duck bedding can just go straight on because it is cold composting. It doesn't damage your plants. So Bob's just going to do me a big favour and dig out the compost. I put it into the wheelbarrow and he's putting it up onto the raised bed for me. This is where we're going to be having our sweet corn, but obviously we're going to have to really amend the soil and just bring it up to date so that we have a really good medium to grow our sweet corn in. We have been putting the ducks onto the vegetable patch pretty much all winter long, and they have been helping to reduce the amount of slugs and snails that we have. It was like slug o'clock this year, wasn't it? It was ridiculous. I'm also doing a bit of weeding because we have tons of stinging nettles that have grown up onto the vegetable patch. I do feel like after a few years of growing somewhere, you totally get so many more weeds than you would normally. So that is one of the issues that we're having, is we have London clay here, and it's just perfect environment for stinging nettles. And the ducks will eat a lot, but they will not eat stinging nettles, which is a shame. Turkeys eat stinging nettles, but we no longer have turkeys here, so they've started to grow up again, so it is a bit of a pain. We are periodically taking the snails and slugs and things like that we've found, and we're just going ahead and giving them to the ducks, which honestly enjoy that so much, and they generate disgusting slugs and snails into wonderful eggs, and the yolks of these duck eggs are ridiculously orange at the moment because they have gained such good nutrition. Now that we've filled up all of this lovely compost, we being Bob is now putting on that end panel. It is good that we can take that end panel off and on to put compost on this area. As you can see, I'm just moving the compost over to the other end. We have so many strawberries that you have seen me weed the strawberries. Do not worry, they're not going to waste. I have taken them all out, and basically what I'm doing is giving them to people who've asked for them. So a lot of Jasmine's friends' mums have asked for a load of strawberries, so I've pulled them out so that when they come round, I think it was that afternoon that they came over to get them, I gave them to them, and they were very, very, very grateful for them. These are Cambridge favourites. We grow so much strawberries that we have as many as you can even think of for fresh eating. And also we have an absolute ton. We've made all of our own jam for probably the next 5 years, and this year we're going to be canning them so that we can have a strawberry crumble. And we can do things like fruit levers, which Jasmine absolutely adores. So we're getting absolutely tons of that. So just an FYI, I am treading on them because they're just in the way. I just need to take out so many of them. We've probably got thousands of them just there alone. We're also fixing up this trellis. This is where our tomatoes are going to be next year. Well, this year actually, we grow our gigantic slice of tomatoes on this trellis at home because Bob just thinks they're so pretty. He likes to have tomatoes at home. I know what you're thinking, but you have hundreds of tomatoes over the allotment. Yeah, well, I have some at home as well. I find that the blight isn't so bad when they're at home as well. We're doing quite a bit to just make sure that this patch is right up to scratch, and this homemade compost is going to go a long way of ensuring that this beautiful sweet corn is going to be its own potential. Sweet corn is a really, really heavy feeder, so it will really benefit from that input of compost. I will top dress this later on in the season, probably every 2 weeks, with either blood and fish bone or some chicken manure or some duck bedding. Probably going to be quite heavy on the duck bedding to reduce the need of watering, which is going to be quite important. Also, my friend is actually going to be planting these sweet corns 1 foot apart, which is super important so they have enough space that they can feed. However, they do need to be quite close together because they are actually wind pollinated. So the flowers are on top of the sweet corn. I know they don't look very much like flowers, but they are. And what happens is the sweet corn's pollen will drop off the top and fall and find its way to the silks on top of each ear of corn. Each silk needs to have a piece of corn on it. Each silk needs a piece of pollen to fall on it so that the kernel of corn will grow. Without this, you will not get sweet corn. So if you've ever opened up a sweet corn and it's really super patchy, that is why. We did this last year. We did it in the exact same way last year, and we got really good pollination rates, so we're going to do it again this year. I have seen some people space them a little bit further. I believe it was 14 inches, and I have seen them being spaced about 6 inches as well, but 1 foot works out quite well. We're quite generous with our foot. We just use the blade for measurements, basically. I have to apologise. I was going to keep some audio in between us because I know that you guys really enjoyed listening to us bantering and, of course, my friends laugh. But our neighbour was having such a big party that, to be honest, you could not hear anything that we were saying. So I decided to cut the audio at the last sort of minute and record over the top of it. So I do apologise about that. But we did get 91 sweet corns in here, which is going to be awesome. You should really stagger the sowing of sweet corn. So every 2 weeks that you do a few more. Obviously, you have to do it in a block for pollination, but we don't do that on the basis that I quite like a glut. I like to have them in the freezer so that when it comes to storing them, I can just do it all in one go. I find that easier, me personally. However, with this particular type of corn, I have noticed that in about a 2-week period, you actually get the sweet corn in, if that makes sense. So they aren't actually all ready at the same time. There are some sweet corns that are ready at the beginning and some at the end, because you do get about 2 or 3 sweet corns for this variety on the cob. It is a shorter variety. I think it only gets to 6 foot. So that is a advantage for a garden scenting, but it also gives a bit of a privacy barrier, which is quite nice. That's why we do it up against the fence, so that it's not in the way and it's not shading anything out. This garden is south facing, so the sweet corn will get an absolute ton of sun, so it's not something that we are particularly concerned about. And of course, we've enriched the soil. As long as you water it well and you feed it well, your sweet corn should be really, really healthy within a setting. It's funny because every year that I plant here, it looks like I'm planting out little bits of grass. They look very pathetic. But I promise you, this was what they looked like last year. I even went back and double checked and they were absolutely prolific last year. I think I only planted about 40, but we still have one singular bag left of sweet corn in the freezer, which is not bad.
Where then? Here?
Yeah, like where I am. Oh, there, it's perfect as well. Thanks for that. It's in my shoe. We're not breaking it though, are we? We're not breaking it.
Why?
Because I want to have it at the allotment.
Oh. Oh, that's too late. Huh?
That was my birthday present.
Yeah, I know.
And you're breaking
No way
it.
you can move that anyway. Where Jazz keeps standing on it, it's all cracked and smashed.
Okay. Oh, fine. Can you not... It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. She's helping, it's okay, she's helping. She's helping. She's looking into her.